Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Think EdTech Thursday. Our guest presenter today is Michael Ramirez. He is the Campus Instructional Technologist, CIT, at Collegiate High School campus. In today's session, teachers will be introduced to Curipod basics, discovering how to create interactive lessons and activities that engage students, boost participation, and provide feedback for learning and growth, all in a teacher-driven, secure environment. A couple of housekeeping items. Please remember to keep your mic muted. Register through Professional Development System. 391843 is the session. Drop your questions in the chat and we'll try to answer them as you have them, and use remote check-in PSJA Tech. The objectives today is to understand what Curipod is and why it matters for classroom management, the basic features that support classrooms, we want to identify that, apply Curipod basics tools in real classroom scenarios through guided practice, and explore practical tips for supporting both teachers and students with the platform. What is Curipod? Curipod is a tool for teachers that helps create interactive, standards-aligned lessons in seconds, boost student engagement with real-time activities and feedback, and it saves time by streamlining lesson planning, while keeping teachers fully in control and connected with their class. Some key features of Curipod: live monitoring to see what students are doing online in real time, screen views, view student screens to check focus and engagement, open and close tabs, direct students to the right sites and block distractions, pause internet, instantly stop online access to get everyone's attention, set boundaries on time limits and rules. You want to set boundaries for apps and websites during class. Now, what I'm going to do is turn it over to Michael Ramirez. And Michael, there you go.
Thank you, Mr. Villarreal. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. We're getting closer to the end of the week already. It's Thursday. We're almost there to Friday. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I have a presentation over Curipod. And while this is being shared, I'm going to go ahead and share the Mentimeter login. I'm going to have everybody click on the Mentimeter link, and you will use the join code, just because I want to ask a question regarding the use of Curipod. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. So, what is Curipod? That's one thing that we're going to be covering today. Another thing we're going to be covering is the ways that Curipod could be utilized in the classroom. We're also going to be covering the features of Curipod, as well as Curipod tools. Now, after this presentation, we'll be doing a live demonstration on how you can use Curipod in the classroom. I'll be getting a scenario, picking a topic, and seeing how we can utilize that in the classroom to keep our students engaged. Okay, so here is the Mentimeter. If you guys can just do me a favor and just sign in to menti.com and use the code 54403771. I have also included this in the chat. If you can just take a brief moment to go ahead and enter in the code and answer the question. The question is, have you ever used Curipod before? Okay, so the responses are, the options are Curipod, never heard of her, or no, but I've heard of Curipod. The third question is, yes, I have used Curipod in the classroom. And the last one is, I am an expert at Curipod. Okay, I don't know if it's showing up on my screen here, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of read some of the results here. I see one user has not heard of Curipod before. Another one has said, Curipod, never heard of her. And then we have our last response here that says, yes, I've used Curipod in the classroom. Awesome. Good job. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next slide here. Okay. Curipod is similar to Nearpod. What is Curipod? Curipod is an AI-powered educational platform designed to help teachers quickly create and deliver engaging, interactive, teacher-paced lessons. As I mentioned right now, that Curipod is similar to Nearpod. If you all remember Nearpod, the difference between Curipod and Nearpod is that Nearpod is a little bit geared more towards visuals and multimedia, while Curipod uses more AI features. The benefits of using Curipod is that you're able to create engaging lessons. Students get to participate actively, which boosts attention and retention. With Curipod, you'll also have the ability to get feedback. So you get instant insight into how students are doing via their answers. So again, since this is an interactive Web 2.0 tool that you can use, you'll be able to see if the students are actually engaged. Depending on the type of activity you have the students doing, you can see how much time they spent crafting their answers. Another benefit of Curipod is that it is easy to use. Now, I like this feature over Nearpod. Nearpod was great. However, with Curipod, less is more. There aren't as many features compared to Nearpod. However, it is so easy and just you are able to just go ahead and create lessons on the fly. Another benefit of Curipod is the ability to have students collaborate with each other. Students are able to get into groups, create group activities, and it can foster classroom discussions as well. And lastly, with the Curipod, you're able to offer flexibility. It works well for various subjects. It's not just for your core classes or your EOC or what have you. You can use it even with CTE at the high school level. There are so many different uses for Curipod. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next slide here. So ways to use Curipod. You can use Curipod to create entry tickets. You can use Curipod to create and check for understanding of lesson materials using short answer questions, which students will then receive instant AI feedback. With Curipod, you can also create and collect exit tickets. You can turn PowerPoint presentations into interactive substitute plans. You can also use Curipod to create interactive professional developments for teachers and staff during PD Day. These are just some of the ways that you can use Curipod, either in the classroom or through professional development. Curipod features. So within Curipod, there are several different ways of creating lessons. You can generate the lessons using AI. You also have the ability to create lessons from scratch if maybe AI isn't your thing. However, if you do use the Curipod AI lessons generator, you can go ahead and pick and choose. Maybe you don't like a certain slide within the lesson. You can go ahead and remove that. You can also add in your own content as well. So again, I would highly recommend if you do use Curipod that you go the AI route. It'll create the majority of the lesson for you, and then you can just fine tune and make adjustments to the lesson to fit your subject or topic that you are covering in the classroom. Curipod also integrates with Google Drive so that you may upload your own resources and materials for students. And lastly, you can view student usage reports on Curipod to see if students are engaging with the teacher-paced lessons. Okay, and then some of the tools offered in Curipod. With Curipod, you're able to embed activities. There are many different types of activities that you can embed with Curipod. You have the ability to add open-ended questions. You can add polls. You can add a drawing board. You can also add a word cloud, AI whiteboard, and AI feedback. We'll be going over these tools more in detail through the live demonstration. With Curipod, you can also add preset slides. This is kind of like your template. So you can create slides that have templates, and you can just add your information. The style's already preset for you. You just remove some of the you remove some of like the, I guess you can call it your text, and you can add your own text. And then another thing you can do with Curipod tools is add visuals. You can add stickers, shapes, apps, GIFs, what have you. you can add these types of visuals to make it more engaging for the students. You can, spruce up your lessons. You can add little stickers. Depending on the lesson, some lessons do have some images already created if you use the AI function of it, but you can always add more. And lastly, with Curipod, you can translate the slides. This is very beneficial for those students that may be EB students, or you need students that maybe you're teaching a course or a class that's either dual credit or not dual credit, I'm sorry, dual language. You can definitely use Curipod with those dual language classes. Or you can also use it for your EB students. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Curipod. So let me go here. Okay. All right. So we're here into Curipod, but before we do this, when you log into Curipod for the first time, you will be, go ahead and do this, you will be prompted to log in. Now, there are going to be several options when you log into Curipod. It's going to ask you if you would like to use a Microsoft account, a Clever account, a Google account, or another type of method like an Apple account. For our district, you're going to select the Google account, and you will log in with your PSJA email into Curipod. Once you do that, you'll be able to go ahead and find your campus. If you do not see your campus listed in Curipod, at the very bottom, there's going to be an option to just manually input your own campus. That's what I had to do at my campus here at PSJ Collegiate High School of Health Professions. I had to do that. So once you do that, you'll be good to go, and you'll be a free edition will be created for your account. So let's go ahead and start with a lesson here. I'm going to go ahead and click on Generate Lesson with AI. And here is where you'll be able to ask or, tell Curipod what kind of lesson you want to create. They give you a little example of here how to describe your lesson. You can also select use materials, and you can paste from a text. Maybe you had copied something to a clipboard and you said, you know what, this would be a good text or a good topic to cover and create a lesson on Curipod. You can also use a presentation. Again, you can use a PowerPoint, a PDF document, or even a document that's hosted on Google Drive. At the moment, because I do have the free version of Curipod, I don't have access to inputting a YouTube link or uploading a file directly. And then here on the other side, you're able to select whether you want to create a full lesson, some quick writes, or test preps. Now, these other options, the test prep specifically, you do need to have a paid account in order to use some of the test prep resources. However, I believe the RLA feature of the test prep resources is free. However, the other subjects such as social studies, math, science, you do have to pay for those. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a lesson here. I'm going to go ahead and just keep it simple here. I'm going to go ahead and write a lesson on analyzing the process of this, in plants for a 9th grade biology class. It must be 45 minutes long. Okay. Now, with Curipod, it is a little slow, so please be patient when you do create your lessons with Curipod. If for whatever reason you are typing in a topic and you're not getting full results, Curipod will actually ask you in depth, what specifically do you want to cover? Okay, so for example, here it says ready to generate your lesson. It's going to give me key details. The subject is a biology science class for 9th grade, and the learning objective is to analyze and describe the light-dependent and Calvin cycle stages detailing their specific reactants, products, and cellular locations. Again, this is going to be 45 minutes long. I can keep chatting if I would like to make adjustments to this Curipod lesson, but for this demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and select Generate Lesson. Now here you are able to select a different theme for your lesson, but it all does the same thing. It's just the color is what changes of your background. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as default, and I'm going to select the Continue button here. Now, as Curipod generates the lesson, it does take a little while. It can take anywhere from up to 5 minutes in my experience. I noticed here that it did say it will take 2 to 3 minutes. I did notice it takes a little longer than that. So please be patient when you use Curipod. I would highly recommend that, you open this up in a new tab and you let it do its thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and let the lesson generate here. And I'll go ahead and just talk. So for Curipod, when it creates the lessons, what I've noticed is that it'll also add activities for you. So you don't need to go and manually add activities. Maybe you aren't sure what type of activity you want to use in your lesson. I know that's something that some Nearpod users will struggle with, is thinking, okay, I have my lesson, but how can I incorporate some of the interactive slides into the lesson, and where should I place it? With Nearpod, I'm sorry, not with Nearpod, but with Curipod, you're able to, it'll go ahead and add that for you. Again, you can make adjustments to the activity. Maybe you don't want an open-ended question. Maybe you want a poll, or maybe you want the students to do a writing prompt and then have the AI summarization graded for them. There are many different options here. So we're going to go ahead and go through this here. It's still creating some of the slides, but on the first slide here, you can see this is the title of the lesson, and it does have like a little photo here, a little picture. You can always change this later if you'd like. I know it's still generating at the moment, but once it finishes generating, right near the start letter over here at the left side of my screen, it will change, and you'll be able to go ahead and edit manually. That'll be the button. And then the second slide here is the objective of the lesson, where the student will explain where each part of photosynthesis happens and list the main inputs and outputs of light reactions and the Calvin cycle. So the third slide in this lesson is your open-ended question. Okay, now it gives the directions to the students, and it asks, or it tells them, when your teacher clicks start, type your answer in the box. We will vote on our answers. So here is a open-ended question. And once this finishes here, I'll just go ahead and show you that you can change this activity if maybe you don't want to do it an open question. Maybe you wanted to give it more of like a multiple choice question. You can do that as well. Okay, still generating here. Like I said, it does take a little longer than 2 to 3 minutes, but this is a very powerful tool. Very powerful tool. The AI portion of it works very well. And it's still uploading here. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and skip that one for now. And we'll go to this next slide. Now, slide number 4 just says slide and says, let's begin. If you do not want filler in your Curipod lesson, you can just go to the individual slide, hover over it, and click on the little 3 dots at the bottom right side of that little screen, and you can select delete here. So I'll go ahead and delete that, and you can delete that slide. Maybe that's something you felt was just like filler. You can go ahead and remove that. And then your next slide, okay, so it just finished. No, it did not. Let me see if I can redo it here. Delete. So your next slide here is the chloroplast zones. Again, this is more content, more resources for those students here. And then you go off to your next slide here. And then you have your light reactions and quick flow. Okay. And then your 7th slide is about a poll. Again, the students will be able to join the Curipod live. They'll go to Curi.live with pin, and they'll be able to type in this pin number and join the Curipod, similar to Nearpod. Okay. And then we'll go to um, this slide number 7. It is called the poll. Again, the students can go ahead and select the option that they want. And we'll go over this here shortly. Let me just actually go towards the end of the slide. Okay, so the Curipod lesson has finished already. And this is pretty much what it looks like. You have slides, you have activities, you have drawings, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and say you wanted to show what it looks like from a student's perspective, right? Let's say you wanted to see what it looks like from a student side. Here at the top, you'll select Classroom Simulator. And here it'll show you a preview of what it looks like on the student side as well as the teacher side. Okay, so as a student, I would go ahead and type in the code or scan the QR code. So I'm going to go ahead and type in this PIN and I'm going to select join. The student will have to input their name and then select submit. Okay, on the classroom screen side or the teacher side, you can select start. You can also mute the sound as well. You can also have the option to filter content moderation. If you do this, you'll select the open button here, and then it'll just give you a little warning and let you know that you need to place this window on a second screen or something that will not be shared. But for this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and select OK. And then here's where I can see the students. I can see their name as well as their alias. Okay, so if I was a teacher, I can go ahead and start the lesson here. And again, this is what the teacher side would see. And the student screen here, it looks a little different, but it's actually happening on the big screen. So the students are actually seeing what's on the classroom screen here. So you'll go to next. And again, it shows you the objective. It shows you the different types of activities here. So on the teacher side, the teacher would read the directions. And then when they're ready to start the activity, they can add time or decrease time to this activity timer. They can click start activity. And on the student screen here, the student will be able to answer the question. They'll be able to answer a question. And then they can click on submit here. Okay. Let's say that all students have finished the activity before the time runs out. The teacher can just end the activity right away to keep the students engaged and so they won't lose focus. So they'll go ahead and select end activity here and it'll give them a little countdown. And then on the student side, the student is they're no longer able to input any more responses. Okay. Now, again, this is another activity. We're going to go ahead and just skip this. And then we'll go on to the next slide here. Again, teacher would be pretty much just covering some of the topics, some of the subjects, and then these are more slides. And then here's another activity. This is a poll activity that the teachers can use, again, to keep these students engaged. Again, they can select start the timer, and then students can go ahead and select an option. So I'm just going to select something for now. And then the teacher is able to see a live data of the student responses. Okay. So this is pretty much a little bit about Curipod. I know there's a lot more I could cover. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this classroom simulator here. If you wanted to go into a specific slide, you can just select it. And then you can select manual edit here at the top left. And here you can actually change this slide if you wanted to do, you wanted maybe a different type of activity, or maybe you just wanted to add a visual. You can go ahead and add a GIF. You can add, little icons. You can really spruce it up if you like. Or again, maybe you just don't want a think, pair, share activity. You can go ahead and select delete here. And then again, you can go ahead and just do that for the next slide in Curipod as well. Okay, there's just this is pretty much it on Curipod. I know we're, pressed on time, but I hope you found this this web tool useful. Definitely play with it. If you have any questions using Curipod, feel free to reach out to me. I'm available, and I can help you out with that. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. I appreciate that. I really like it because it's just simple, straightforward, to the point, and you can get something done very, very quickly on it. If in a crunch, you can bring something up and it's very, very useful. I didn't know it had that many adjustments at the end where you can bring in a lot of those other features, which is great. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. What we're going to do is now I'm just going to share my screen to follow us on social media. If anybody has any last words, this is the time. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody.